And I think we are live. Hello, everyone. Such a pleasure to be with you today with our live with actually the DappRadar team. Again, we're going to cover all data for the month, not only for the month, because there will be releasing the blockchain game report that you will be able to see, I think, in a few hours. You'll be able to check on the DappRadar.com websites, the blockchain game reports for March, but not only for March, also for Q1, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So we'll be able to go over some details. First, some alpha about what you will be able to check on the website. And yeah, again, Sara, Pedro, such a pleasure to have you again on the show. And we're gonna go. We're going to go into all of the details of the data that you actually pictured. But before that, Sara, I just wanted to ask you, because you are releasing two different reports. So I would like to uh, please tell us what were the highlights in blockchain gaming for Q1 2023, things that you are releasing in the Q1 report and not the March report.
Yeah. So first of all, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. Actually, do enjoy having this conversation with you. So yeah, we decided for this for the first time to kind of separate two reports. So we have the March one that we will dive deep into this, and then we're gonna have the quarterly one. Overall, quarterly, it was a very, I'm gonna say it was a very not good month, probably a slow month when it comes to the on-chain activity in blockchain gaming, because actually we saw a decrease, like 8% decrease, but we saw an increase in the dominance, and then we further talk about this. But actually what's happening, and the visual is very nice, the highlights, I think this quarter was great when it comes to new innovation, new partnerships, what's happening with the launch. I don't know, the craziness of the game of Dookie Dash by Yuga Labs, then Immutable X with the gaming passport, and then the partnership that they did with Polygon. And we keep hearing Immutable X, Polygon. These are two names, two blockchain, two projects that we kept hearing in the past 6 months. And what's interesting, besides the Web3 gaming projects that actually kept building during this bear market, during the crisis, is that Web2 company. And I think this is the first time that we're actually seeing that Web2 gaming companies are seeing the potential of blockchain technology and the potential of blockchain gaming. As it shows, we have Unity with the Web3 developer tools, with introducing MetaMask, Immutable, blah blah blah. And then I think the coolest one is Sony. And I will leave Pedro because I know he the news about this. He's very excited about it. So, yeah.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Flavien, for having us again. Very happy to be back. I mean, yeah, as I was saying, probably a slower month as we are used to in terms of on-chain activity. Investments were up once again, which is a good sign. But probably, yeah, the most important sign is how infrastructure providers and big names in the gaming space are already dipping their toes into Web3. And I mean, I'm a fan of Sony and their franchises like God of War, and Last of Us, and
Me
you
too.
name it, right? So exactly. So it's quite exciting to see and hear that Sony is already thinking in digital assets and how we can start transferring those in a peer-to-peer market economy between consoles. And it's not only between PlayStation, but they are also exploring Xbox and so on. So I mean, it's getting exciting.
Yes, I agree with both of you with what about what you've said actually, and I think so. We just came back from GDC, one of the biggest convention in terms of gaming, gathering all the ecosystem of the traditional gaming industry, and you kind of saw the impact of Web3 gaming company inside the conference in terms of the booth. You were able to actually check the Avalanche booth, the Polygon booth. It was huge. It was huge to see the interest also from the other side about how to see the potential of blockchain gaming from the traditional gaming industry. It was very interesting to see that the discussion and the conversation was good as well, very receptive as well. And I think the main change was you could actually play games, Web3 games. So it was a big shift and very exciting based on what you just picture with the big activities for this Q1 2023. And if we want to focus on what happened in March in terms of on-chain activity, again, with the unique active wallets that you are leveraging on your platform, could you explain what's happening in terms of on-chain activity for March?
Yeah, I think I could go. So as I mentioned, we are actually seeing a downtrend in activity since 2023 started. Blockchain gaming activity, it kind of decreased. But I think besides everything, it also decreased because new games are trying to introduce new way of how they are tracking activity and how they are trying to eliminate bots. And right now, just Splinterlands comes in my mind, and we will further talk about this. This is one. And second, I think also how certain blockchain games are introducing blockchain activities, but there's no many on-chain transaction that you have to do in order to play the game. So it's a little bit of Web 2 with Web 3 and not entirely blockchain. And further is what we are seeing is the social one. So it is a new trend that we actually saw in February, March. And what we intend of social dApps is dApps that you usually use that to have like the new Instagram or new Facebook, but Web3 and Web3 with gamification in it. And I think this is one of the coolest part. And overall, I think we can think that social could be at some point part of games. Because right now, we have one of the two most well-known dApps, Hooked, Lens Protocol, but also what we track as social is the central end. And the central end could be it could be put into gaming as well, because you go there, you interact with people, but there's the gamification part of it. And I think this is something very, very cool and something very excited that we'll definitely see a bigger trend in the future.
It's interesting to see that you want to bring more granularity into your graphic when you're talking about on-chain data, on-chain activity. I guess, Pedro, that's important for you to actually picture that at first glance in terms of what kind of activities for you can consider games, DeFi, social, and NFT. Even if, as you said, Sara, everything is kind of can be mixed into each other. But yeah, Pedro, I guess that's the purpose of why you are proposing these kind of division.
Totally correct. And we are actually on the process of revamping our whole infrastructure. And this week we launched the Rankings 2.0, which is basically DappRadar 2.0. It's a new iteration of DappRadar completely, a new way of discovering dApps. So this will allow us to have better insights, more granularity, as you were saying, and we will also start implementing intelligent labels. So in the future, you will start to see how not only by verticals, but by subcategories within those verticals. So when we talk about, for example, games, we'll be able to understand how trading card games perform against battle royales or other battle games and RPGs and so on. So this will become really, really interesting, and always with the sake of more transparency and better understanding of the space that we are working around. So it's going to be exciting times ahead, and yeah, very happy to share the news here as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be exciting to see all the new changes that we'll be able to see on the website for sure. And to go through the other metric that you've shared that you will be sharing in a minute. You can see all the time the dominance of the DeFi in the games in the industry in terms of on-chain activity, and you can actually see that for Q1 we got gaming got 45%, which is better than the Q4. So interesting to see the evolution of what's happening in terms of dominance for GameFi, DeFi. You mentioned, Sarah, the fact that social app is also something that gaining traction. So will be very interesting to see what will happen in the next month and quarter. As usual, we need to check what's happening in terms of protocol. Very interesting to see what's happening in terms of protocol, and actually something is happening big. Like one chain is just took over the second position in terms of on-chain activity. Which one is it? It's obvious, but I want you to say it. Why? What's happening? Why do you think they are gaining so much traction in terms of games?
Who wants to go first? Pedro, me?
Yeah, ladies first, of course.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Easy.
Yeah, very, very easy. So I think what's happening right now with Polygon, first of all, a little bit of context and a little bit of history is that Polygon was known as a DeFi chain back in the, I won't say back in the years, but I will use back in the months. A few months ago, Polygon had more DeFi services and was, known for this. And I think what they did, because the way they are structured, the infrastructure, it's a very good infrastructure for blockchain gaming. And I think they saw the potential, and this is what they decided to focus on. And this is why we're seeing, and actually this is incredible, for the first time they surpassed Hive and they are on the second place. Something that if we look back at previous reports and analyze it, I think this move is, they were on the top 9, then top 7, top 5, and now top 2. And who knows, we can never know what happened in the next quarter. Maybe we'll see Polygon first, or, this is one. The second, I think they've launched so many games on Polygon, and we will see on the next slide that as of right now, 2 or 3 top 10 games of this month is on Polygon. The fact that they're accessible, the transaction cost, the gas fees, everything gets so low. And yeah, I don't know, it's incredible what they're building. Yeah.
What do you think, Pedro?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have gained a lot of leverage in also the business development and how they are able to, sign and close big partnerships. So when we review the big names that Polygon has partnered with, we see Disney, we see Starbucks, and then we see Mutable X, right? But yeah, it all started with the focus that they started to shift from being a chain heavy on DeFi to games, as Sarah was explaining. And so it was not from night to day, it was a transition that probably everyone saw coming last year. And now it's harvesting all the results. So it's nice to see it, very nice and positive to see Polygon emerging and being cemented as a top gaming option going forward.
It is. And again, GDC, their booth was so amazing, and they had an agenda there. It was clever because you had an agenda for the 3 days to actually test games for each morning, each afternoon. You had a different games to be played, so it was fun, educative as well, with a lot of partners they invited. So yeah, I totally agree with you with the capacity to make deals with big company and big game publishers. So definitely something exciting. And when we can see that actually on the top 10 games of March 2023, Sarah, what's happening? Because I see a lot of green, but not only green, I see a lot of activities and a growth in the on-chain activity for specific games we are seeing.
Yeah, so first of all, Alien Words, it's on the first place this month. It's on the first play on this quarter. And Alien Words, it's really like to keep very, very tight the first place. But what we are seeing is that for the first time in a few months, on the second place, we don't have Splinters anymore. We have Iskra. And Iskra is a Web3 gaming hub or gaming studio. They are producing games, and they just launched this game. I forgot their name, but actually it got very hype. It was very, very good. And this is what we saw. This is second. And another trend that we're seeing is that Iskra, and then we have Universe. And Universe, we can see, they had a very, a lot of percentages. And then Jibalana is that 3 games, both of these 3 games, they are on mobile game. And also I think even Trickshot Blades, because they are on Flow. So what we are seeing, and this is something that me and Pedro, I think we talk about this in everything, we are seeing a shift to mobile gaming, and especially blockchain mobile gaming. And these new rankings are showing this. And then what's more interesting is that X Infinity. So what they did is that Ronin, they just launched, I think the news was like a few days ago, they just launched 4 new games. And I think this is very interesting because for the first time we saw that Ronin is not just the home of X Infinity, but can also have more games and can host, can host more games. And this is why I'm so excited about everything. So yeah, I don't know if Pedro wants to add something.
I mean, it's positive also, and always nice to see newcomers cracking the top 10. So Ixcra and Hunters on Chain, super positive to see them there. And to me, also the news about Axie is very, very positive as well, because Sky Mavis is sending a message that it's not only one trick pony, and they have built a very robust ecosystem that goes from DeFi to NFTs and everything tied to the Axie economy. But now we're seeing new IP coming to Ronin, and new custom games that also empower creators. So for me, it's also really good news. And also want to probably give a shout out to Upland, because Upland is one game that has been here for ages, and we see them all the time in the top 10. And probably we are so used to them being here that we don't talk about them so frequently. But also, yeah, a very, very consistent project.
I agree. We talk about the capacity of Polygon to make deals with big companies, but our plan is definitely one of them, not as a protocol, but I mean as a game company, because they attract a lot of partners like FIFA to actually make it exciting for their players to compete and to play the game with other partners. So definitely agree with you with the capacity to grow the ecosystem with other partners and brands. And we at the BGA, we are very exciting because you mentioned a game which is Hunters on Chain, and the game is developed by Boomland, and Boomland is one member of the BGA, and I'm gonna let Serat just join us. Hi Serat, how are you doing?
Hi, pretty good. Nice to be here. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. As I said, it's a pleasure to actually first see you in these top 10 games released by DappRadar, and also to have the opportunity to have a chat with you, actually, to capitalize on your experience and what's happening in your ecosystem and inside the company. So just wanted to have the opportunity to talk with you about Hunters on Chain. And I will say, I would let obviously the DappRadar team ask you a question, but as a first question, I would love to know your path of developing this game and integrating blockchain within this game, because I understood that at first it was let's say Web2 games, but why did you feel the need of adding layers of blockchain within it?
As our previous company, Boombit, where we spun off, we have been developing Web2 games for the last decade or so. We have developed around 200 games and accumulated somewhere between 1.6 billion to 1.8 billion downloads. And the first attempt with us was at 2018. We tried to implement blockchain, but it was on Ethereum, and layer ones and layer twos weren't this convenient, let's say. So we had a roadblock and we parked the idea. And come 2020, we decided to roll in again to see if we can bring the Web2 knowledge and fundamentals of game design and free-to-play model into the blockchain. The first thing, of course, we did was to pick a game where we have seen that there were a lot of good games out there, but not good enough to have um, consistent retention. That was something that we have seen. So we have picked the best retention game that we have in our Web2 portfolio, which was Hunt Royale, that had 7 million downloads and around 200,000 daily active users, with a Discord community for a Web2 game, crazy enough, about 60K. They have their own subreddit. The community was vibrant, right? So we said, okay, if Web3 is all about blockchain plus community, then we need to bring the best game in. And this is how we come up with Hunters on Chain. The product integration of blockchain lasted about 6 months. 3 months was we worked on the tokenization part of it, and as the game implies, we decided to go everything on chain, even if for example, the in-game token isn't going to be listed, it will be on chain, so that we give the freedom to the players to decide what they want to do with their own assets. So this is how we basically branched out of Boombit and said, you know what, Web3 is going to be the future, because imagine 2 years, 3 years, or X months later, you'll see an ad while you're playing a game, something like a Candy Crush game, classic, and then right after that, you see a game just like Candy Crush again, but this time you can earn and own something, accrue value for yourself. So as a player perspective, you are of course going to go for the ones that are offering you something more tangible, right? This is why we believe that Web2 will be eventually transitioning into 2.5 and then Web3. It was in the beginning of 2010, no one believed in mobile gaming, then no one believed in paid ads, then no one believed in free-to-play model. And we have all seen that happen, right? They said, no one is going to pay $2.99 for a game. They did. No one is going to watch an ad to play a game. They did. And now we are seeing the same kind of friction, but we know for sure that this is going to happen. So this is why we acted a little bit early.
Yeah, I will let Pedro and Sara just after that ask their question, but I think it's very exciting, based also on on-chain activities that we are seeing with the DappRadar metrics. How do you make the transition for players to actually be on board with Web3 technology? Because we're always talking about how difficult it is to actually onboard players into a game when they don't know anything about wallet, they don't know anything about NFTs and blockchain technologies. Obviously, on the game, in the game, you don't talk about that, but you actually make it easy for them to understand the ownership of digital assets. So how do you do that on your side? Was it easy? Is it still easy?
Well, it wasn't easy, but something that we have learned from decades of game design experience is that something called first-time user experience. And if you want to teach a player something, there needs to be a laid-off tutorial, because the moment where a user comes into the game, within 50 seconds, they decide whether they are going to play this game or not. So in that 50 seconds, you need to do the activation correctly, as in the first-time user experience. You need to make sure that they stay. So when it comes to Web3, we couldn't just go ahead and say, do your own research, right? This is why we have integrated the blockchain elements into the later stages of the story. So you come into the game, it's like an action RPG. You learn the controls first. You learn how to basically heal yourself, and then I give you an opportunity. We're going to give you 500 soft currency and a hunter. You want that? Perfect. All you need to do is create an account to save your progress. And at that moment, we are actually creating a sequence wallet as well. So they don't really know that they have just created the wallet and we have minted an NFT into their wallets. So right after that, we say, oh, you know what? This 500 BitGem, it's on chain. You know what is on chain? You don't know? Perfect. Then you can click on here and they can take you into the tutorial where we talk about the basic layers. Like, this is your wallet. You can see the content. And if you want, you can basically send it to another player. Another player can send you something. Then once they open their first chest, once they have a semi-fungible token in their wallet that they can sell, an ERC 1155, we say, you know what? This token is actually last sold for 25 cents. If you want to learn how to do it by yourself or buy yourself something, you can click on here and we can take you to the marketplace tutorial. So step by step, we are basically hand-holding someone who doesn't know anything about blockchain, yet alone, anything about wallets at all. So with that first-time user experience, we are basically converting Web2 players into the fundamental level that they need to understand. After that, it never stops. So the tutorials will keep on coming for upgrading, for example, where you burn your items. So you have 5 hunter shards. Once you get that, a pop-up appears and says, you know, you can upgrade your hunter. Let's talk about how it is done. So once you have it, you come here and click here, but you need to know that these fungible tokens will be burned. This is how it works. If you want to read more, you can go here. If you have a question, you can come to Discord. So it's not just, you know, in 20 minutes, you are trying to unlock everything in the UI, just like in any JRPG or a mobile game. You will see that 50 minutes of tutorial where you are taken from this screen to that screen to that screen. But we basically laid out and make it simple. So every 3-4 times they played the game, another tutorial happens the moment where they need to learn it, not before.
That's exciting. Thank you very much, Sarah. Pedro, Sara, I don't know if you have any question on your side. Please let me know.
Yeah, I do have one question. First of all, this is so interesting, and it's so nice that we have the opportunity to listen to you and to understand exactly how you guys want to bring the adoption from a Web2 game to Web3, and I think it's really, really cool. I don't know if you follow our previous conversation, but we were talking about, you know, why Polygon has been, you know, in rising, and, you know, right now is the top blockchain gaming protocol. I think it's going to be very cool if you, as a Web2 gaming studio, can you please tell us, like, why did you went with Polygon? Like, what were the reason?
Yeah, of course. We had several options. We have been talking before we have even started the development. We started to talk with networks to understand if they can actually help us with what we need. What we need is something different than other Web3 builders, right? We are basically getting the Web3 and giving them the opportunity to learn more about free-to-play, because we always say Hunters on Chain is going to be a free-to-play game, meaning that you don't need anything, because if you want millions to come, you need to break down and tear down every wall that is stopping them coming right in. That is maybe the NFT ownership, that is the technical knowledge, or even the scary words like wallets and seed phrases like that. And the first thing that we saw is that Polygon had a wider reach when it comes to different types of businesses coming in, just like you have mentioned. Like, we are talking about Starbucks, we're talking about Disney. And that means that the versatility that they have put into their business development is something that signifies and signals that they can actually be helpful when it comes to getting millions in, because you don't try to get millions in if you cannot really scale the solution yourself, right? And the second thing was, we were very keen on the Supernets technology, which actually allows you to have a sidechain, because one thing we knew for sure, that as we're not a profile picture project or a project that is aiming just for 50, 100K, we are basically creating everything for millions of players. Like when it comes to our hunters, we have 2 types of hunters. One is common hunter and one is premium hunter. Common hunters are basically coming from a pool of 72 billion, because we know for sure that once we get going with the user acquisition, we are going to be seeing 2 million, 3 million players, because right now in Boombit, every day we are acquiring 1.5 million new players within, and we have a monthly active user of 33 million. So these are actually the numbers that Web3 needs to see. So that means that whatever we are using should not be congested by any other project coming in. And the Supernets technology really helped us and felt at ease, because we will be in control. Because, for example, we are talking about Web2 to Web3 migration, but we never talk about gas fees. And how are you going to tell a free-to-play user that they need even 2 cents within their wallet? They won't be able to afford it. Maybe they will, but they won't know how to do it. So controlling the gas payments within our own ecosystem, within our own dual tokens, would mean that we would be able to actually get everyone for free to play for free. So this is why we went with Polygon, and their support was amazing when it comes to the solution engineers, the marketing team, and the business development team. So they are actually caring about the project, trying to understand it. And this is why actually we have partnered up with them, and then followed up with the investments from Polygon in our pre-seed round.
Thank you. Actually, this was very, very cool, and thank you for answering. And you said something, these are the numbers that Web3 should see, millions. My other and last question is, how did you start the community, right? Because right now, Web3, the biggest part of Web3 right now, it's community. If you have a successful Web3 gaming, NFT collection, everything, you really have a very good Discord, a community manager, and everything. And looking at the Web2 players, gamers, we are writing, surveys on that. Most of them are they are not into Web3. They are thinking there's a scam or everything. So what's the community? How they they were okay with this, or what was the feedback that you kind of got from that?
To start with Hunt Royale's own Discord, once we released our own Discord for the first time, the first people that we went ahead and announced it was the Hunt Royale community, and we said, guys, don't worry about Hunt Royale. It's going to stay here. It will be on Web2. It's going to be free to play, and we will keep on developing it. But at the same time, we are doing something like this. We are not going to be an NFT project. We are not going to be selling NFTs. We are going to use blockchain technology as it is meant to be, like the first thing being the anti-cheat solution, and the second one being you deciding what happens with your own assets. So one thing that was a pain point always in Web2 is that we have those whales that are spending $200, $300 every month for the game itself because they like the game. But the moment that they are done with the game, so is their time and money investment, right? And we explained everything about that. So anything that you own is going to be staying there. And once we release a new game, you will be able to move your assets with the interoperability, and they will mean exactly the same. So you will keep on your progress. One thing that was key for us to underline was that interoperability bit. So if you're bored with Hunters on Chain, you will be able to come into Mighty Heroes or Archer Club, and your level 10 legendary NFT will still be a level 10 legendary NFT, but it will transmute into a bow, a car, or a hero, or a deck maybe. So you will keep on your progress, but you will basically move it from one game to another without any problem. This is what we are using blockchain technology for, nothing else. And they understood. Of course, there are always concerns about what is going to happen. So for the people who are coming outside, we always said stuff that are anti-Web3. So they would be asking us, okay, are we going to the moon? No, we are staying on Earth. What is going to happen with the floor price? Is it going to be like 20,000 Ether? No, we hope that it's going to be zero, because then that means that a lot of people can come in and play the game. So the moment you start saying things like that, automatically the people who are coming in just for the short-term profit, I'm not blaming anyone or shaming anyone, they can, and if they want to, if they see it as an investment opportunity, sure. But our goal was never about, going to the moon or, having a floor price that is like 1,000 Ether. We always said stuff counter initiative to whatever you would be expecting on Web3. And that left us with a core community that are actually players that have played the alpha and beta and now playing on the testnet and the mainnet release of the game. And they believe in the project. And this is how we actually keep the maturity and the quality of the community. We are not exactly going for everyone that is on Web3 or everyone that is interested in DeFi, GameFi. We are actually going for players first, and then people who are interested about Web3. This is how we are actually managing the community.
Thank you very much, Sara. It was very insightful. I don't know, Pedro, if you have anything to add.
Well, first of all, very bullish on Hunters on Chain, to be honest. I see successful factors, like one, open economy, right? This is yes or yes. Two, focus on mobile. And three, interoperability. There are many, many things to be bullish on you, so kudos, Serhat. Two questions. The first one is yes or no. Your token is ERC20 because you said it's on chain, or it's more only of a utility token?
We have two tokens. One is our soft currency, which is called BitGem, and the other one is Boom, which is our utility/governance token. They are both ERC20.
Okay, awesome. And the second one, I mean, I think both Flavien and Sara ask you probably the best question. So what's next for Boomland? Is the goal is to become a Web3 studio company that keep releasing games, or you want to first see the results on Hunters? What's your roadmap, if it can be? No.
Yeah, I mean, we never called us just Web3 Studio. We always called us a Web3 publishing platform, because what we're trying to achieve with Hunters on Chain is basically just a proof of concept, like with game design, tokenization, and tokenomics for a platform. We are going to be releasing games from internal portfolio, from Boombit's portfolio, and we have already 2 signed up studios that are external, but we are basically getting their games tokenized and releasing on the Boomland platform. So what we're trying to achieve here is to have an open gated community, basically a platform where anyone can come in with their game, and we will be shortlisting it just like on Steam's Greenlight, and we will ask our holders, everyone, not just token holders, not just NFT holders, but anyone in the Discord will be able to vote. They will say, okay, we want this game next as a Boomland game. So what is going to happen is that we know for sure that there are a lot of good quality game studios out there that have great games on Web2, but they just don't know what to and where to start with Web3. And one thing we have like a motto is that usually in Web2, we do soft launches. Like we just run user acquisition campaigns for 100,000 installs, and then we check the numbers, because otherwise you're not going to get any statistically significant data out of the A/B test that you're doing. So what we're going to do first is to come up with this, hopefully the industry standard for testing a Web3 game. So we will be testing the game in Web2, see the results, perfect it, and then release it on Web3, because since Web3 is kind of permanent and you cannot really hotfix anything, and if something goes wrong, it goes wrong, unless you restart everything. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to use Hunters on Chain as a proof of concept, and then start contacting other Web2 studios that wants to migrate into Web3, and we will be the gateway for that. So we are not just the first blockchain project for millions of Web2 players out there, but we want to be the first experience and gate for Web2 developers as well. So that's the goal.
Super cool. And so I understand that then Boomland will have their own DAO to run governance processes, or?
Not exactly. We're not going to call it a decentralized autonomous organization, because we respectfully don't want to give that kind of power when we're talking about stuff for game design. So if you ask players what you want to nerf, they will basically go ahead and nerf the thing that they don't like. But maybe in terms of game design, that makes sense, right? So instead, we are going to be giving them the opportunity to prioritize stuff that we already decided on. For example, let's say we have 100 games that are submitted. We pick 10 of them that we think is going to be a good mix, and we ask the decentralized publishing organization, what is going to be the next game to be released? Pick one from these 10. And if like we have 5 very major voted games, then we are going to release those 5 games. The other 5 will get into the shortlist again to be asked. And we are going to tell them that these are the feedbacks from the DPO, and you go work on that. For example, we will give them the roadmap and say, if this roadmap is what you want or not. We started doing that, by the way. We weren't going to do any paid mints, but the community asked us, and I put out a vote in Discord, got around 2,000 votes, and they wanted a mint in end of March, so we did. So we went back and come up with different pricing models, and they decided on the best one for us, and this is how we're acting, and this is how it's going to be happening from now on. But again, not autonomous, but we are going to be taking in consideration what the community majority wants, but we are going to be listening to them in any case.
That's perfect. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Pedro and Sara, for your question. But most of all, thanks a lot for your time. I don't want to use so much of your time, because thank you for accepting our invitation. It was made very, very last minute, and you said yes. So it was very nice of you actually to answer our question today. And I think if it's not already the case, but in a few minutes we'll be able to have the DappRadar report released on the website and see Boomland with their games also making an impact in the blockchain game ecosystem. So we're going to cover some other metrics with the DappRadar team, but Sara, I don't want to use your time. So thanks again for being here. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me and for wonderful questions.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. See ya.
Wow, it was great. Good question, guys. It was very exciting. Yeah.
It is interesting and exciting to hear from people that understands exactly what is needed, and they are nailing a lot of aspects, and so exciting to hear.
Yeah.
To be honest, that makes me very bullish. Like in my mind, it was like, finally, I received the answers, and I'm seeing what we are trying to say for the past month, right? When it comes to blockchain gaming, what games need, because like we are trying to, games need this, and then we see this gaming studio that probably is not the first and will not be the last, but having the chance to talk with him and see exactly what he's doing and the way he's trying to bring Web2 users. He tries to bring adoption. He doesn't care about floor price and everything. And oh my God, right now I'm very so bullish about blockchain gaming more than I was already. But yeah, anyway.
And the strategy is good as well. They are not the only one, but they might be the most successful one to actually, as he said, have a first use case with the first game they develop with Web3 technologies and be one of the guy you need to contact if you want your game to be involved in Web3. So you do have other companies, blockchain game companies like Cometh, another member of the BGA, who are actually having this strategy as well. But it makes so much sense because they're really good at what they do, and we're still early. We say that all the time. So it's very good time. So yeah, it was a very good interview with you guys about that. We won't cover much more, but I know that a lot of people are waiting for this specific metric, which is investments. What's happening in terms of investments in blockchain games? So I don't know, Pedro or Sara, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I think I want to pitch in like very quick, and then Pedro can, if he wants to add something. First of all, we saw that this quarter we almost got near the 1 billion. I'm very optimistic, but still, we saw an increase from the previous quarter. And actually March was one of the greatest month this quarter. We had like 434 million, like more than half of the whole, quarter one. Investments happened in March. And I do have one investment, and I think Pedro has another one. But my personal investment was the fund that I think South Korea they did. Let me just check it. South Korea, they invested like 100.
Government.
It was like almost 50 million to develop metaverse initiative in the country and everything, and 50 million. I think this is so big and this is so bullish, seeing that this is not the first time that we are hearing from an Asian country that they are trying to promote this and they are investing into this. We also saw United Arab like the Arab countries. I don't remember exactly one. They are investing in the metaverse. And why I'm so bullish on this is because we are seeing actually the government pitching in. And this is one. And the second, I just want to comment, because I just read today this news, is that Japan approves Web3 white paper to promote industry growth in the country. The document proposes more tax reform, clearer accounting standards, and a DAO law. And this was today. I just read it today, and I think this is whoa. So my mind right now is like whoa. And this will probably affect the gaming, everything related to gaming, because next week we are launching this behavior report, and we focus on Japan, of the behavior of gaming user in Japan and other countries, but mostly on Japan. And especially that Web2, the most well-known Web2 gaming studios are in Japan or come from Asia. And we are seeing this adoption from governments, and right now we are gonna see even a DAO. I don't know, it makes me more bullish than I already was. So yeah, that's my take. I don't know if Pedro wants to add something.
Yeah, just before Pedro's feedback, when I see that, I just would like to see the European country do the same. And I don't know how much time we will wait to have these kind of decisions. But Pedro, what's on your side?
I see France becoming pushing really hard towards metaverse, and then isolated countries, also Turkey and Portugal in their respective fields, and the UK and Spain going a bit more focus on the DeFi aspect. But I think Europe will catch up. But definitely, this revolution will be led by Asia. Going back to investments, to me, it's very positive sign that, I mean, banks were failing. We are in the middle of a recession, and money keeps, being poured by VCs into the gaming industry. They definitely see potential here. And two investments caught my attention this quarter. One was by Webland, this virtual world that it's probably the leader in interoperability, raised 7 or 8 billions, which is super good for them. Kudos to the team. And the last one was 40 million investment raised by CCP, which is the studio behind EVE Online. And if we go back in time, EVE Online was one of the leading metaverse concepts out during the 2000s. So A16Z backing that investment and leading that. So their focus is now turning into Web3. So let's see what happens with them. The competition in the virtual worlds might also be heating up. So yeah, let's focus on that as well.
Right in times, as you said, even if we started to talk about what's happening in terms of blockchain gaming at the beginning of this year, obviously some downtrends as compared with last year, especially the beginning of last year, but very exciting things based on what's behind in terms of gameplay, in terms of company decision as well. All the time, very happy to go through all the number that everyone will be able to check on the DappRadar website. And again, it was a pleasure to have you, Pedro and Sara, to talk about it. So I guess I will see you next time.
Thank you, Flavien. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.